National Police Commissioner Masemola has accused the suspended police minister of unlawfully interfering in operational policing matters. He described the minister's instruction as a total encroachment on his constitutional authority.
See, the subject is a letter to Netcom, and it's an email from one Nkabinde CM dated 31 December 2024. Good afternoon, National Commissioner General Masemola. Please find the attached letter from the Minister for your urgent attention. That is dated the 31st of December, and you indicate that you received it on the 2nd by way of a WhatsApp. And you mentioned this on paragraph 109 of your statement. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And before dealing with the contents of the letter, to go back to your paragraph 109, you continue, you say, I did not fully appreciate the significance of the letter because, as I said, I was on leave. And you then deal with the 3 topics that are addressed by that letter. If I can ask you then to turn to the letter at 374. You will see the heading. The heading is directives on matters relating to crime intelligence, ports of entry, and political killings task team. And the first issue is filling of posts in the intelligence division. The second is ports of entry. And if you turn over the page, the third one is the political killings task team. And if I can ask you to deal with that, issue that the minister was addressing in 2019. Please proceed from there.
Yeah, the letter reads as follows on paragraph 3, political killings task team. In 2019, a directive was made to the National Commissioner of Police following the Madlanga Commission report, even though not flowing directly from such, that an interministerial task force be established. The key mandate was to stop, investigate, resolve, unresolved matters of politicians in the country, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. My observation in this regard, as indicated above, is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value to policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political killings task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the Minister by the 20th of January 2025. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting late January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. You are sincerely signed, Minister of Police, Mr. Mchunu MP, dated 31st of 12/2024.
Now, if you go back to the issue that was touched upon earlier by the commissioners, the 3 components that emanate from Section 2072, the issue of policy, direction, and operational issues. Now, with reference to the instruction that the minister is giving, what is your view when the minister says, I therefore direct that the political killing task team be disestablished immediately. Does that constitute policy or direction by the minister? If yes, why? If not, why not?
Yeah, my interpretation is that, well, it's a, it is a direction, is a directive that actually deals with the work of the National Commissioner, meaning that I take it as an encroachment in the operational activities of the organization, SAPS, because it's going as far as even saying the when must it be done, must be disbanded, moreover, without knowing, even not knowing the reasons why. So yes, I in terms of, if you take it in terms of the Constitution, I definitely regard this as an overreach to the functions of the National Commission.
So you say, as part of your response, that when the minister said that the disbandment should happen immediately, that is also dealing with the how part, i.e. the implementation thereof.
Yeah, correct. Let's say my interpretation as a person maybe was wrong to say maybe this is still part of a direction. Then I'll have a problem where he says it must be done immediately, which is the how part. He could have left that to the National Commissioner. But now, in this case, even where one doesn't know why, would you go as far as disbanding a team of this nature? Because for me, it flies in the face of Section 2053, where it says the police must, part of the function is to investigate crime. So if you stop the investigation of crime, I don't know now, what do you expect police to do?
Just to make sure that I understand, you emphasize the how. I do not know whether you are suggesting that there wasn't necessarily a problem with the disbandment instruction itself, or was there?
Commissioner, there was also a concern about the disbandment. What informed the disbandment?
Okay. But would it, all things being equal, and assuming that you had no problem with what informed it, would it have been a lawful instruction? Disband the PKTT, would that have been a lawful instruction, all things being equal?
In other words, is it still part of policy direction?
To say disband no, that's for me, that's an overreach, that's an operational matter. So it wouldn't. Rather, if ever there is any problem, it should have been discussed.
In short then, with or without the how, the instruction was unlawful.
Yes, my interpretation is correct, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mutau.
Thank you, Chair. And then in the statement, you proceed that the matter could not wait. And remember, you're linking this to the point that you've made, or rather the point that you've read from the minister's letter that says a report must be prepared and submitted to the minister by the 20th of January 2025. And you were due to return to the office on 14 January that you, like you say, and you say you had considered that you would address the issue upon your return. But then in paragraph 110, if you can please commence from there, you say, however, it seemed the matter could not wait. If you can take it from there.
Yeah, paragraph 110. However, it seemed that the matter could not wait. I received a call from Lieutenant General Mchunu the same day, 2nd January 2025. He told me that he saw in the media a letter from the minister to me to disband the PKTT. I informed him that I am on leave until 14 January 2025 and had not had any opportunity to consider the contents of the letter from the minister, but that I was aware of it. I made it clear to Lieutenant General Mchunu that I had nothing to do with the disbandment, and I informed him that the minister never sought any advice before taking the decision.
So when you say any there, you say my advice?
When I?
You say, you said now any, but the statement says never sought my advice?
Yeah, what I'm referring to is that the minister never sought an advice from me before he embarked on this action.
Yes, proceed. Lieutenant General Mchunu also informed?
Yeah, Lieutenant General Mchunu also informed me that he too had not been engaged in the possible dissolution of the PKTT.
And then in the next paragraph, you deal with how you classified the communication by the minister and what did you do as a step following that instruction that had been communicated to you by the minister. If you can please proceed. Paragraph 1.1.
Before you do that, General, do you have any knowledge how this letter would have ended up in the media on the 2nd of January?
I have got no idea as to how.
It's not from your office.
As far as I
To
know,
your
no,
knowledge.
it's not. It's not from my office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Given the fact that the minister was instructing, not soliciting our views of the disbandment of the PKTT, I deemed it necessary to speak to the President about the issue. I spoke to the President on the 1st of February 2025. During this meeting, I mentioned the minister's directive to disband such a successful team, and the President told me that he would speak to the minister. Of course, I didn't really require from the President to say whether he agree or not, but I did tell him that this team is being dissolved, reason unknown, and I said if ever it has to be done, it cannot even be done in this abrupt manner because I don't know what we are chasing. And that's when he says, no, he will speak to the minister.
Yes, then 112, you say at a later stage?
At a later stage, the President did inform me that he did discuss the issue with the minister. He did not inform me on what details they discussed.
Did he tell you what outcome they reached on the issue?
No.
And is that where you left it with the President?
Yeah, that's where I ended. As I said, well, I didn't expect President to get to an operational matter, but I did tell him that there is this issue. And I said, if ever it has to be done, it should be a process of winding down and not this abrupt manner. And from there, well, later I did, that's why later then I by that time, I already submitted a report to the minister, the one that was due on the 20th, where I described, or I was explaining to the minister that if you disband this team, this is the best way on the how part. And I described that it should be a wind down and it should be a phased out approach and not this abrupt. But still, as and when we meet, I kept on asking the minister, but what is the reason for the disbandment of the team? I never really got a real reason as to why.
Advocate Mutau.
Yes.
Just going back to the letter, General, it's on 375 in Masemola 2. Paragraph 3, where the minister talks about the political killings task team. As far as you know, was the minister aware as at 31 December 2024 that the mandate of the task team has been extended to Fort Hare and also the traditional leaders' killings? As far as you know, was the minister aware that the mandate had been extended?
I don't know. I wouldn't know who would have told him, but I just don't know whether he was aware.
The reason I'm asking you that is because the minister records in the letter that the key mandate was to stop, investigate, and resolve unresolved matters of politicians in the country, especially KwaZulu-Natal. But according to you, the mandate had been extended to deal with other issues.
Yes, the mandate was extended to deal with the Fort Hare and later extended to Gauteng. But also, that founding paragraph that a directive was made to National Commissioner in 2019, I don't know that. This team was not established as a result of the Moerane Commission. The results of the report of Moerane Commission came out somewhere 2018, September. This team was already in place because of the matter. So there's no relationship between Moerane Commission and the establishment of the team because the team was already there. I wouldn't know the linkage, how it came about.
Thank you. And you later on in your statement deal with the various requests to brief the minister about the activities of the task team. Although those requests, you say you make them after this instruction had been issued. But leading to those interactions, if we could start at 113.
It is important to know that the PKTT had proven to be an essential unit in managing political related cases, particularly during periods of heightened tension such as election cycles. The abrupt directive to dissolve the team not only disregarded ongoing investigation processes, but also undermined the collaborative effort that were in place to ensure justice and stability in affected regions. This decision, taken without prior consultation or warning, created significant uncertainty amongst key stakeholders like your NPA and the risk disrupting the momentum of crucial investigations.
Yes, if I can ask you to just perhaps explain that last part, that last sentence about the uncertainty and the disruptive effect that it had on the stakeholders and the momentum of crucial investigations. If you could share with the Commission, what do you mean by that also?
Yeah, what refers commissioners is that this team had a team of, the PKTT had a team of prosecutors that were assisting the team, guiding them with the investigation. So when all of a sudden there is abrupt decision to disband abruptly, then you leave them uncertain, not knowing what is happening. And of course, the work that they were doing also from their side, it means, is left incomplete because they were not regarded or consulted when this decision was taken.
And the issue regarding the impact, as you say, on the cases that were ongoing at that stage is not catered for in the minister's directive as to how they're supposed to be dealt with.
Yeah, the investigations that were still pending, let's say partially had bails and cases that were before court and so on. So that is one of the areas that were not taken care of in the letter. And as I said, the prosecutors from NPA were also not consulted. So does it mean they remain in the province of KwaZulu-Natal or they must go? So that raises questions. And also, the impact on the cases itself will definitely be problematic because I also still going to court and there must have been partially had cases and follow up on prosecutors' instruction by investigators that has to be, still have to be done. So those, it means, would have all been disrupted in the main.
Right. I think we'll touch on some of those when you deal with the report that was prepared and submitted to the minister pursuant to the letter indicating that a report needed to be prepared by 20 January 2025, which is the topic that you deal with next at 114. If you could proceed from there.
Since the letter required a report to be prepared by, progress report be prepared by 20th of January 2025, and given that I was still on leave up to 14 January 2025, I instructed a brigadier in my office to forward all those letters from the minister to all the deputies, including General Sibia, to instruct them to prepare the necessary reports. My intention was to discuss the matter with the minister to understand his reasons and attempt to dissuade him.
Yeah, to dissuade him.
Dissuade him. However, the letter contained an instruction to prepare reports that were due by 20th of January 2025. Of course, if I refused to carry out that instruction, I would have been accused of insubordination, since all that was required, insofar as the instruction was concerned, was the preparation of the reports, which I then allowed the officials at my office to start doing while I was still on leave.
And if I can just ask there, to clarify, when you say the refusal to prepare a report could possibly result in the minister accusing you of insubordination, what do you mean by that?
I'm meaning that, well, you want a progress report by 20th of January, but you want also the immediate disbandment, which by design, it looks like it was designed that it happened while I was still on leave. So I said to the officials that no, prepare the reports, but no disbandment, because the date for the first report is 20th of January, and I'll be back by the 14th. So All I'm saying is, if I didn't do anything, probably the minister would have said, yeah, no, this one is not taking my instructions. Hence I said, no, prepare the reports, I'll see them when I come back.
So it's prepared, don't submit, because I'll be back and I'll deal with it when I get there.
Yes, because the due date was the 20th of January. I said, no, prepare the reports. When I come back the 14th, I'll deal with everything henceforth from there onwards.
Please explain this. The minister says prepare a report, preliminary report in this regard. And this follows the sentence that says the PKTT is being disestablished immediately. So when it says a preliminary report in this regard, what did you understand that to mean?
My understanding was that he wanted a report probably on how far is the disestablishment. But what I am saying to the official is, no, you don't disestablish anything. Prepare a report in terms of how you think this establishment, if ever is done, how it should be done. But that the team be disestablished immediately, well, that I didn't comply with, and I told them nothing should happen. Maybe that was the plan, that it happened while I was on leave, but I said to them nothing happened to the team. They can start preparing reports on the team.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. You have said now more than once that an instruction to disband would be unlawful, or once given, it was unlawful. Now, it doesn't quite make sense to me that you would have feared insubordination if asked to make a progress report, that's how I understand you, on a disbandment that is unlawful. Why did you not say, Minister, your disbandment instruction is unlawful? Therefore, I cannot make a progress report on something that is unlawful.
Well, that I didn't say. I just said to the team, prepare whatever report, but compliance to that immediate disestablishment, you just don't do that one until I come back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Then on paragraph 115, you deal with the fact that you returned to the office. If you can proceed from there.
Yeah, I returned to the office on the 14th of January 2025. And late in the afternoon, I had a discussion with Lieutenant General Sibia. He presented a plan or a letter to me on how to close the PKTT in line with the directive of the minister. I was, however, not satisfied with that proposed plan because it contained, most important, it contained this immediate disestablishment. And I informed him, General Sibia, that it would be responsible of to summarily disband the PKTT and remove case talkers from them, as it will detrimentally affect, it will have a detrimental effect on the investigation of the cases. It will cause problems, complications in relation to the prosecution of matters already in court, and it will detrimentally affect witnesses in witness protection and families that were affected by these killings.
And then you say in 116,
I
you gave Lieutenant General Sibia an instruction?
I instructed General Sibia that the PKTT should be wound down in a phased approach without compromising the proper execution of our police duties, if ever it has to be done. And which I then instructed him to go and rework on this plan. And I further directed him to another Major General to go and assist him in developing something of a phased out approach.
Yes.
General, now you're talking winding down. You actually repeat this further on, paragraph 131. You say, importantly, insofar as the way forward is concerned, this is 131, we had proposed that the following steps be taken to wind down the PKTT. And in 131.2, you say the 128 dockets that were still, no, I'm looking at the wrong paragraph. 131.3, you say no new dockets would be taken by or allocated to the PKTT. So what you say in 116 ties in with what you say in 131 and 131.3. What all that tells me is that you had basically accepted that the PKTT be disbanded. Your difference with the minister and indeed even Lieutenant General Sibia was whether this should be immediate, which is what the minister and Lieutenant General Sibia wanted, or it should be a phased process, which is what you preferred. Now, you have said that the instruction to disband was unlawful. Can you explain why you accepted that there be a disbandment, but that it be a phased process?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. After, of course, talking to the minister, looking for an ear to explain this matter further, to understand why is he doing what he's doing. At some point then, I had no alternative left but to say, well, if ever it has to go your way of disbandment. In other words, I'm giving in, but not in his approach, but on my approach, to say, let then the team be wind down if ever it has to be disbanded. So, and in the absence of a hearing by him, because since that time we never discussed it. He agreed that he will make time that we discuss this matter. But that time didn't come, even though I know I met him on the 16th of January, and we discussed other matters. When we come to this one, he says, no, let's wait for the report of the 20th. So that's why what I'm saying is that at this point in time, yes, in a way I'm giving into his instruction, but I say, not your way, but my way. And that's where then still there was no agreement on that.
I do not understand that, General. Remember, right at the beginning, I asked you this, and I even said, I was first hypothetical, as it were, and then I said, I will ask you, as General Masemola, a direct question. And I said, if the minister were to give you an instruction that strays onto your purview of functions, would you obey that? And you said you would disobey that. Do you remember giving me that answer right at the beginning?
Yeah, correct, Commissioner.
Now, why is it that once confronted with what you say was an unlawful instruction from the minister, you relented? Can you explain that? Especially regard being held to what you say at paragraph 161 of your affidavit. In fact, paragraphs 161 and 188. You say, I'm sorry. You say at paragraph 161 that decision to disband the PKTT in KZN was fundamentally an operational matter falling squarely within the purview of the National Commissioner, who is responsible for the management and strategic deployment of policing resources. The effect of that is that the instruction was unlawful. The minister was not legally entitled to have given that instruction. Do you agree that that is the effect of this? Paragraph 161.
I do agree, Commissioner.
All right, let me take you to 188. There you say, in respect of the minister, knowing what I now know, what I consider to be irrational and inexplicable, and I emphasize what follows, encroachment into operational issues is now explained, blah, blah, blah. But what I focus on is you say the minister was encroaching onto your area of function. Now, just tell me how, especially in the face of what you said at the beginning, which is that you would not obey an unlawful instruction from the minister. Now, you say in so many ways that this was unlawful. Unlawful, why? Because it strayed onto your area of function. So why do you now suddenly talk the language of winding down in a phased manner, and no new dockets are to be given to the PKTT? Effectively, you are relenting to an unlawful instruction. And you have told us at the beginning, you will never do that. You will disobey an unlawful instruction. Can you please explain yourself?
Thanks, Commissioner. Well, if you look back on the letter, it did say disestablish immediately. I refused to do that, hence I said to my team, don't do it. I come back, I seek audience. The audience don't come, and eventually when it comes, it's still insistence on do established. And by that time, of course, I'm not aware of that the December operation gave effect to the disestablishment of the team. But of course, I'm seeking answers. Why is this team being established? And I've got no other assistance where to go to. I've got this team, I've got this minister, and he insists on this establishment.
General, if it's unlawful, it's unlawful.
I agree, Commissioner.
So I just do not get you. I do not follow you. It's unlawful, and you told us this morning that if an unlawful instruction were to issue from the minister, you would disobey it. Now here's one. It's unlawful at paragraph 161 and at paragraph 188 of your affidavit. You say the instruction was unlawful. So why obey it if you've told us that you would not obey an unlawful instruction? It's a simple question. I don't quite get your answer.
Okay, no, I agree, Commissioner. I do understand what the Commissioner is saying. That yes, I said I will not agree to it. But what I'm saying is that if you were sitting in my position where I was, and this minister is insistent, without the hindsight of knowing later, because the commissioner now is advantage in that you have got the before I know the December operation of the 6, how it impacted on the disestablishment. And also, me say, no, I'm not going to comply with this instruction, which I did to an extent, made sure the team is not disestablished immediately, that I was successful. And eventually, without any other help, and with this minister here in front of me, insisting, I had to end up saying, well, if we do it your way, I don't accept, but let's rather do it my way. Probably as we go along, I might find motive, and kept on saying, but Minister, why are you disestablishing this team? I kept asking that question all the time. I did acknowledge, Commissioner, that yes, initially I refused not to comply with his instruction. But after having no any other way, and life goes on, this man is here in front of me, he wants the team disestablished. There is no any other help. So what do? The only way that I did was, no, if you do that, you do it my way, not your way. Because
maybe then, I hope I won't sound as being facetious. Maybe then you should have qualified your answer of this morning and say, I would not obey an unlawful instruction unless the minister breathes down my neck.
unless
The minister breathes down my neck.
okay. I hear, Commissioner. The positions that we find ourselves as government officials, well, I'm sure the commissioners are prerogative where they are sitting. We go through things.
As a follow-up to your discussion with the chair, what is available to you, whether from your employment terms, whether the laws that govern your position and policies, what is available to you as a mechanism should you disagree with the minister, for example, on the decision such as this? Is there anything available structurally that allows you to escalate the matter or to pursue a particular cause to get resolution other than trying to meet with the minister? Is there structurally anything that you can do about it?
Yeah, well, the only avenue I know is the president. Other than that, well, in this case, General Konazi did report to the Portfolio Committee on Police. There was no assistance. So, I don't know. Basically, I can't take my own minister to court.
Yes.
So there is no any other avenue.
You went to the president. You did speak to the president about it.
Yes, I did speak to.
Thank you.
And I can't go to court, taking the same minister to court. There was no such a room.
Right. So you say you couldn't take the minister to court. We know you told us earlier you went to the president, and earlier on in your evidence you say that the best that you thought you could do at that time was to insist on a phased-out approach, and you indicated that you were hoping that in that intervening period you could perhaps get to answer the question, why was the minister disestablishing the task team? I think it's as part of your engagement and interaction with the commissioners.
That's correct, Commissioner.
But was it an option for you to say, I'm not going to do it at all? You remember what the chair asked? The chair said, he asked you earlier on whether would you obey an unlawful instruction by a minister, and you said no. And in light of the engagement, he says, perhaps you should have qualified it and said, unless the minister was breathing down my neck, then in that case, I would implement an unlawful instruction. I think that's the import of what the chair was putting to you, that it seems in 116, when you implement this instruction by way of a winding down, it seems to be inconsistent with the earlier answer when you said, but if an instruction is unlawful from a minister, without more, in other words, without qualifying it, you said you wouldn't implement it. Do you understand where the commissioners are coming from?
Yeah, no, I understand where they are coming from, yes.
And sorry, Mr. Mtao, can I just to be clear, so that I'm clear what the General is saying. General, how I understand you, you're saying you did not give effect to the instruction of immediate disbandment. So you didn't take any action. All you did was you started preparing a report which would recommend how it should be done. So at no point, as you sit there, at no point did you take steps to disband the team. Am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So what I did was to propose that if we disband, this is the way. And can minister sign that off? The report of the 20th of January, which was submitted 22nd of January. So that wasn't signed off, and we were left, of course, then in a limbo.
So,
and then,
yeah. So the high watermark.
As we are sitting here today, forget about the report. As we are sitting here today, have you disbanded the task team in accordance with the minister's instructions?
No, I've not. I haven't sent out a letter to disband the task team. But however, I'm aware that proposals that have been made here, some people end up starting implementing them. But the task team was never disbanded. That I haven't signed. I kept renewing the authorities for it to continue working.
But you yourself had actually relented. That was my point. You yourself had actually relented and accepted that the PKTT should be disbanded. And I say so for what you stated in the two paragraphs I referred to. I think it was 131 and 131 point something. There you basically accept that the PKTT must go. You say it must be wound down, but it must be wound down in a phased manner. So you may not have gotten to the stage of actually killing it, but you had accepted that it must be killed, but in a phased manner. That's where I am. And you go so far as to say that no new dockets must be given to it. So you've basically accepted the instruction, but it's merely just a question of how this should be implemented. You can only implement a decision if you've accepted it. So that's where I am.
Yeah, correct, Commissioner. There, yes, in terms of those proposals, that's what I end up proposing to the minister that, yes, maybe this is the way to go, which was still not accepted.